And now the Deeper Thinking Podcast, a daily exploration into how philosophy, psychology, and technology shape how we think, feel, and live.
Welcome to the Deeper Thinking Podcast. You walk the same path as always, past the tree with the split trunk, whose bark you've stopped noticing, toward the bent bench with its peeling paint, the flakes shaped like small crumbling continents no one visits. You don't check the sign. You never really do. The gesture feels unnecessary now, almost decorative. The bus arrives before your mind has caught up, but your body knows the drill. It moves without hesitation. One step, then another. You're already climbing the steps, already halfway down the aisle, already sitting, like the thought had started long before you realised you were having it. The driver says nothing. His silence isn't cold, just ambient. Something in his face feels close. Not like someone you know, but like someone you once nearly did. A kind of resemblance that stirs something but doesn't name it. He keeps his eyes on the road. You keep yours on the window. The bus exhales, soft, mechanical, and begins to move. Outside, the streets stretch quietly. The town looks like your own, but slightly askew. The buildings are too tidy. The shop signs seem just a letter off or coloured wrong, like someone recreated the familiar from a faded memory. It should disturb you. It doesn't. You don't ask why. You're not thinking in questions. There's no clear reason to be here, no obvious destination. But the motion feels like it means something. You ride because that's what you've always done. Not because you must. Not because you decided. The seat is stiff, but your body leans into it anyway. It remembers how. There's a quiet comfort in this repetition, a rhythm, a drift, a surrender to something automatic. I guess I'm supposed to go, you think, though the voice doesn't sound like yours exactly. It sounds borrowed or inherited. The bus passes a building you're sure you know, a school perhaps, or maybe a hospital, you can't tell. The window glass distorts everything. The faces outside blending into one another, never looking in. You realise without surprise that you are not alone. There are other passengers, but they do not speak. They do not seem to see you or each other. They tilt their heads gently toward the aisle, not toward light or sound, but something else, something quieter. You shift in your seat. A feeling nudges the edge of your awareness, something uncertain, like you might be dreaming or drifting inside a thought that isn't entirely yours. But the movement of the bus smooths the sharpness of that feeling, dulls the edge. You let it. You settle once more. The rhythm reclaims you. You don't know where you're going. You don't notice exactly when the ride begins to change. There's no single moment, just a slow thickening of the air, like it's been breathed one too many times. The seat under you holds a little too much warmth. The bus hums, not unpleasantly, but steadily, as if it's been moving like this forever. You glance toward the window. The outside world is there, but it repeats. A grey building, a cracked footpath, a sign that reads, "Open soon." You see it twice, maybe 3 times, and something in you begins to wonder if you're going in circles. There's a folded newspaper on the seat beside you. The crossword is half done, the answer's too neat, too careful. Like someone filled it in not to solve it, but to be seen solving it. You catch a reflection in the window. It startles you, not because it's unfamiliar, but because it looks like it's been watching longer than you have. Still, quiet, as if it knew you were here before you did. Behind the glass, the town slips by, cars that don't move, a dog without a lead, a man sweeping the same spot of pavement. People walk, but their steps don't quite touch the ground. The whole world feels a little detached, like scenery placed just far enough away to not be touched. You try to remember when you got on, but nothing comes. A voice begins in your mind, soft, familiar. It says, "You always do this, not cruelly, not loudly, just the way a hallway sounds after years of the same footsteps." Then, almost beneath that voice, another thought arrives. When did I get on? The question doesn't change the ride, the bus doesn't slow, no one looks up. But something in you notices that you've noticed. You lean forward slightly, glance at the route map above the window. It's smudged, unreadable, no stops, just a word at the bottom, continue. You press your palm to the glass. It's warm. Your hand leaves no mark. The voice speaks again. You stay too long. You miss your stop. You don't answer. You press your thumb into the centre of your palm. A small gesture. just enough to feel the difference between body and thought. You're still on the bus, still moving, but something has shifted. The thought is still there, but now you see it, you feel it. The next bus arrives without ceremony. Its brakes whisper, the doors open with practiced ease. The sign above reads, "Not enough." You feel it in your chest before your eyes even register the words. A quiet tightening, a sensation so familiar it hardly feels like choice. Your foot lifts slightly, not in panic, just recognition. It's been here before, but something catches. A pause. It's nothing dramatic. Just a soft interruption in the sequence, like breath held a second longer than usual. In that space, you see the bus more clearly. Its glossy sides, the curved mirror, the stillness of the driver. He doesn't look at you exactly. His gaze rests somewhere behind you, as if expecting you to already be inside. You name it softly. This is the not enough bus. The words feel strange, like reading aloud from a language you half remember, but they steady something. You stay still. Your foot returns to the curb. The pavement is uneven, flecked with bits of gravel. Real, present. You feel the coolness through the sole of your shoe. You breathe, not a deep breath, not a special breath, just a breath that belongs to this moment. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't need to. You speak again, more to yourself than to anything outside. "I'm having the thought that I should get on." And suddenly that thought, which had felt so full, begins to show its edges. It becomes something you can see, not just something you are. The bus remains, still open, still available, but you don't move. You watch it for a while. Let the impulse rise. Let it pass. The thought doesn't fight you. It just sits like weather, like a memory that doesn't ask for action. Then the doors close with a soft seal. The bus pulls away, slowly. No drama, no resistance. You're still on the curb, not triumphant, not finished. Just still. This one arrives quietly, like a suggestion you don't remember asking for. Its frame is clean, its corners rounded. The sign above the windscreen reads, "Fix this now." You feel the pull, not as panic, but as importance, as something responsible, necessary, like a task you forgot, and suddenly remember at the edge of sleep. You shift forward without meaning to. The air around the doorway feels expectant, the kind of urgency that wears politeness, that says it won't take long. You reach into your pocket and find the stone. You'd forgotten it was there. It rests against your palm with a weight that doesn't argue, doesn't explain, just reminds. The thought speaks softly. It would help. Just this once. It doesn't push, it reasons, it sounds like care. You recognize the tone, the way it doesn't demand but folds itself around your sense of what must be done. You speak, without volume. "I know this pull. I don't have to go." Your foot moves toward the step, out of habit more than will, then pauses. You stand there for a moment, between the offer and the refusal. You step back, not defiantly, just with awareness. The driver doesn't look your way, the sign doesn't change, the bus waits. Then, without announcement, it moves on. You stay. The stone remains in your hand. You turn it once, feel its texture, and slide it back into your pocket. You don't feel victory, but you feel difference. And the difference is this. The thought came, and you didn't follow, not because you defeated it, but because the next bus is easy to like. Its edges are soft. The sign reads kindness. The letters are curved, gentle. The doors open without insistence. The air inside seems warm, almost familiar. You board without thinking. It doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like the absence of one. The seat is already warm. It cradles you as if it knew you were coming. The lights inside hum softly. The driver gives a small nod. Not welcoming exactly. Just permitting. You accept it. You sit. The ride begins. Smooth. Quiet. The world outside begins to soften. Edges blur. The houses drift past without rhythm. The windows fog, not suddenly but steadily, until you can no longer tell whether you're still in motion. It doesn't feel wrong. Just vague. Weightless. You look for the route map. It isn't there. The panel above your seat is empty. The cord for stopping. Gone. A quiet discomfort forms, not sharp but persistent, like a question without phrasing. You shift in your seat, press your hands to your knees. The driver says nothing. The warmth, once comforting, now holds a little too firmly. Then the sentence arrives, almost kindly. Comfort isn't the same as direction. You stand, slowly. The seat resists a little, as if to ask whether you're sure. You are, or close enough. You walk to the front. Say, "I don't think this is my stop," though no one is listening. And no reply is needed. The doors open without fanfare. You step out into a sky that is neither bright nor dark. The ground beneath your feet feels unremarkable, but real. You don't know where you are, but you're not on the bus. And you return to the bench, not because you've figured anything out, but because it feels right to be here now. The stop hasn't changed, the same worn curve in the metal, the same pale paint peeling at the edges, but your being here has. It doesn't feel like waiting, it feels like staying. This time you bring a notebook. You don't plan to fill it. You just write a few words. Urgency. Blame. Control. There's no analysis. You fold the page and slide it into your coat pocket. That's all it needs to be. A bus arrives too early. You're not ready. It waits, then leaves. Another bus comes, sleek and unmarked. The driver keeps his eyes ahead. You let that one go too. You begin to notice smaller things. The subtle tension in your calf. The flicker of breath when a sign is hard to read. The tiny lift in your chest that comes just before a decision you no longer make. You name these things quietly, not to fix them, just to see them. Someone else sits beside you. They say nothing. You don't look at each other, but when they fold their hands in their lap, so do you. Not as imitation. Just rhythm. Another bus rolls in. The sign says guilt. You recognise the typeface, the tone. The driver could be someone you used to answer to or someone you still do in your thoughts. You say aloud softly, "That's the guilt bus." No one hears you. That's fine. You wave. The driver nods. The bus moves on. You feel the echo of the pull and the soft relief of its passing. You don't smile, but your breath finds its own length again. You whisper just to yourself, "Thought is not a command." You remain on the bench, not because you must, because you can, because something in you is learning that letting thoughts pass isn't surrender. It happens without warning. You're back on the bus. There's no clear moment of boarding, no decision, just the quiet realization that you're already in motion again. The seat beneath you is familiar, worn at the edges, a little too shaped to you. The smell in the air is faintly metallic, touched with something bitter, something like old coffee. You look out the window. The street is repeating again. Same grey curb, same leaning sign, same cracked brick wall. The fog on the glass has returned. It smudges the edges of everything. Then the voice. Soft, immediate. You always ruin things. It's not cruel, just confident. The kind of voice that speaks in patterns. The kind that doesn't wait for you to argue. You shift in your seat. Look up. The route sign reads, "Self-doubt line." You nod. It fits. Naming it doesn't stop the ride, but it gives it shape. You press the chord. The click is small, almost delicate. You feel it more than hear it. You say quietly, "I'm on the self-doubt line again." The words don't bring shame. They just settle into the moment. The driver doesn't turn. The bus begins to slow. The voice inside speaks again. "You'll be back." You respond, not to win, not to fight, just softly, "I'm still here." You stand. The movement is awkward, but sure. You reach for the rail, steady yourself, and wait. The doors open. The light outside is pale, somewhere between morning and evening. You step down. There's no applause, no lesson, just pavement, air, space. You breathe. Not to calm yourself, just to feel that you can. Even from the station doesn't announce itself. There are no signs, no arrival. One day, you're simply there. The platform stretches out ahead of you, made of old wood that gives slightly under your weight but doesn't complain. The grain is worn smooth by weather and time. A pigeon walks its edge like it's done so every day, pausing now and then to look at nothing in particular. You sit, not to wait for something, not to solve anything. Just because the bench is there and you have nowhere else to be, the stone in your pocket is warm from your hand. You take it out and set it beside you, not as a gesture, not to mark anything, just because it's time. Buses still arrive. Their signs are varied now, some familiar. "Fix this now." Guilt, not enough. Others are new. "Be better by evening." Apologise for everything. Earn your quiet. Each one pauses, doors open, engine humming. You don't move. One of them arrives with no sign at all. The doors open. The driver waits. You stay seated. After a moment, the doors close again and it moves on. You begin to notice the rhythm, the approach, the pause, the invitation, the letting go. It doesn't feel like resistance. It feels like listening. You feel the subtle pull in your leg again, that old lift, ready to rise. You name it, let it pass. Thought is not a command. You stand, slowly, not away from something, not toward anything, just upright, present. You walk, not to arrive, not to escape. Just because your body wants to move, behind you, the buses continue to come and go. They always will. You are the one who notices. Until next time.
You've been listening to the Deeper Thinking podcast. Today's episode was narrated by Holly, our digital narrator, who helps bring our ideas to life. Thank you for your positive reviews on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews help keep us visible so others can discover and enjoy our content.